So today we will be discussing about valuing the materials which receipts. Valuing the material receipts. Now understand we have till now understood that material forms an important part of your product. Okay, material is important, significant for the production of goods, especially okay. So material cost forms a significant part of your manufacturing or production of goods. So there should be proper valuation of materials because material cost is a significant portion of the cost of the goods. Okay, especially direct material cost is the very significant from the point of view of costing of your final product. So it is very important that after procurement of the material, that is after receipt of material from the supplier, actual material cost is calculated. Very important. No? When you purchase the raw material input for your output, it is very important that you should properly calculate the actual material cost. Okay, because we know that material cost forms a significant part of your final product cost. So ascertainment of the cost of material purchase is called valuation of material receipts. Okay, so what all cost is included in valuing the material cost that we will understand today. Very important and interesting also. Cost of material includes cost of purchase. Obviously, when you will purchase the material, you will pay some price, no? So that is you can term it as cost of purchase. So material cost will include what? Cost of purchase. Then less trade discounts. So if you are receiving any discounts, rebates, duty drawback means for simplicity understand like that only. When you are paying some duty to the government and you are getting it back, that is known as duty drawback. Okay, input credit availed. You are getting some benefit of tax paid, that is input tax credit. Okay, and other costs incurred in bringing the inventories to the present location and condition. Okay, so cost of purchase is the main part component of the material cost. Suppose if you are paying 1,000 rupees for purchasing a material, so that will become your cost of purchase. And suppose the vendor supplier is giving you 10 rupees trade discount, so you will reduce that and you will say that my material cost is 90 rupees. Okay, 100 rupees you have paid and trade discount, it is reduced from the purchase, so it will be 90 rupees will be the, you will say, the cost of material. So if you will understand from this logic, it is very simple. What price you pay, that will become your cost, and whatever benefits you are getting, that you have to reduce, and you should get the net material cost. So that will be your material cost. Okay, so understood. Suppose whatever price you are paying, that will be your base for valuing material. From that you will reduce all that benefit you are getting, and you should also add some expenditure which is important to bring the material to your location. That is very important. Like transport cost is there, freight inward, etc. So all this thing we will have to add, and we will have to get the net material cost, and this cost will come in our cost sheet for valuing the cost of final product. Understood? So what price, cost of purchase, this will be the base. In that we will reduce all that benefits which we are getting. Okay, and we will add some expenditure, additional expenditure incurred to bring the material to our present location. That is, for example, you can say factory, and addition and subtraction of all these things will, we will get the net material cost, which will be coming in our cost sheet for calculating the cost of final product. So see, let us understand this. See, simple. First, always there will be cost of purchase, In that, if you are getting trade discount, what treatment you should do? You should deduct that. Okay, remember these points. Cost of purchase will be your base, that is the amount which you are paying. Okay, in that, if you are getting trade discount, deduct that from the purchase price. Okay, deduct that from the purchase price. Then if you are receiving any discount, that is benefit, you should deduct that from the purchase price. Cash discount, remember, cash discount is not a deducted because it is a interest and finance charge. It will not be treated in costing, it will come under in financial accounts. So if in question cash discount is given, you should ignore that. Write and keep all this for your reference. It will be easy for solving the illustration. So trade discount, see here, we will make the chart. We can understand it like this. First basic point will be your cost of purchase. That is the amount, invoice price, you can say cost of purchase or invoice price. Invoice price. Okay, this will be your invoice price. From invoice price, whatever thing you will reduce and add, that we will discuss now. See, if trade discount is there, what you should do? You should less trade discount. Okay, trade discount you should less. Quantity discount you should reduce less. Cash discount, what you should do? Ignore. Okay, sometimes you are getting subsidies, grant, incentives from government, no? Sometimes government gives grants, incentives, etc. All that thing, what you have to do? Reduce less. So only cash discount you should ignore. Okay, because cash discount is an interest and finance expense, which is not considered in costing. That is, it is ignored actually, or it will come in the cost sheet, but not in material cost, we can say. Then how treatment of duties and taxes. If you are paying some road tax or toll tax, you should add that. Okay, if you are paying some road tax or toll tax, you should add that because it is an expenditure. No? Now, what GST paid? What will be the treatment of GST? See, integrated goods and service tax is paid on intrastate supply of goods and provision of services, and it is collected from buyers. It is excluded from cost of production. If credit for the same is available, now understand, when you collect GST, it is an indirect tax. Normally, GST you will collect it from the buyers. Okay. Similarly, when you purchase the good, you will have to pay GST to the supplier. Okay, when you purchase the material, supplier will collect the GST from you. When you will sell the goods, you will collect it from your customers. There is one concept in GST which is known as input tax credit. There is a concept in GST which is known as input tax credit. Means when you will collect the GST from customer, no, you will have to pay it to the government. Obviously, you are collecting it on behalf of government. What government has given a provision of input tax credit means you have paid the GST to the supplier. No, this GST which you pay on the input, you will get as a benefit. That is known as input tax credit. How it will function? See, while purchasing the goods, you have paid GST 10 rupees, for example, to the supplier. Okay, obviously, supplier will collect from you only because GST is an indirect tax. Okay, now when you will sell the goods, you will collect the GST from the customer. Suppose you have collected 15 rupees from the customer. Now, this 15 rupees you have to pay to the government. Obviously, you have collected from the customer means you will have to pay to the government. Now, you will not have to pay this full 15 rupees. Government has given a benefit of input tax credit. This 15 rupees which you have collected from the customer minus 10 rupees you have already paid to your supplier. No? You will get this benefit. This is known as input tax credit. And you will have to pay only 5 rupees to the government because this 10 rupees will be paid by the supplier to the government. Understood. So this is how GST will function in a very simple term. Okay. So this GST which you are paid to the supplier no, is not your cost. Obviously, no, because here you are already getting the benefit. No? So this is not your cost. So GST, any GST will be excluded if the credit is available. Okay, normally it is assumed that credit will be available only. So GST we will have to exclude from the invoice price. Okay, because it is not a cost. Now you would have understood why it is not a cost. Because while purchasing the material, you will pay the GST to the supplier. And while selling the goods, you will collect the GST from the customer. Now the GST which you have collected from the customer, you will have to pay to the government. Okay. Now you need not pay this 15 rupees to the government because you have already paid 10 rupees to the supplier, which the supplier will be depositing to the government. Okay. So 15 rupees which you have collected minus 10 rupees. So 5 rupees net benefit is there. No? So this net benefit only you have to pay to the government. So while purchasing the goods, you have paid 10 rupees. No, this is not your cost because you are getting credit benefit of that 10 rupees. So we will not include this GST paid or input GST, you can say, in the cost of the material. Input GST is not a cost, you can say, because here you are getting the credit no, of this 10 rupees which you have already paid. So a GST will be excluded from the cost of material if it is credit is available, and normally it will be assumed that credit is available. Okay, unless there are some exceptions, etc. But that is all not relevant for your syllabus. Okay, so you just remember GST will be excluded from the cost of purchase or invoice price. Now, if you are purchasing goods outside India, then you will have to pay customs duty. So that will be added to your cost. Obviously, any tax which you are paying, that will become your cost. So it will be added to the purchase cost. Demurrage, it is a kind of penalty. Demurrage means penalty, right? And keep demurrage is a penalty imposed by the transporter for delay in uploading or offloading the material. Okay, suppose if you are delaying the uploading or offloading of material, etc., because of which transporter will impose a penalty on you, it is an abnormal cost and it is not included in purchase cost. Okay, so demurrage not included in cost. Demurrage is not included in cost. Okay, any fine, etc., not included. Penalty not included. Okay. Then next is what? Insurance charge, that is other expenditure, insurance charges, etc. These are all cost, it will be added. Commission, brokerage, you have to add this to your purchase cost. Freight inward, to bring the material to your factory, you will have to add this. Okay. So insurance charges, add commission paid, etc. You have to add to your cost. Freight you have to add. So these are the basic things which we have seen how to calculate the material cost. Okay, now two more things are there. Cost of containers, that is you can say package. If it is a non-returnable package, okay, you are receiving the goods in a package or container and it is not returned to the supplier back, then that cost will be added to the cost of material. Simple. If it is a non-returnable container means you are receiving your material in some good container packet, and you need not return that packet or container back to the supplier, then that cost will be added to the cost of purchase. If it is a returnable container, okay, if it is a returnable container, then not added to the cost, because you will have to return that package back to the supplier. So a returnable container should not be added to the cost of purchase. Okay, this much only you remember. If it is a returnable package, add it to the cost. If it is a non-returnable package, add it to the cost. If it is a returnable package, do not add it to the cost. Okay, this shortage we will discuss in illustration only. If there is a shortage of material, what should be the treatment? That we will discuss while solving the illustration only. So now we will read this illustration number 2 and try to solve this. Illustration number 2. So everybody read this illustration number 2. At what price per unit would part number A32? So this is your material name given. Part number A32 is the material which you are purchasing. And what is asked in the question? What will be the price per unit of the material? At what price you have to value this material? Okay, and details have been given to you here. See how much units you are purchasing. 200 units you are purchasing of part number 32, 5 per unit. So total invoice price you can say, not invoice price, the price of that material is 1000. Okay, discount is given 200 rupees. SGST, GST 96 rupees. Packing charges, non-returnable boxes. See, non-returnable containers, 50 rupees. And the invoice price is 946. Just we have to tell for our costing purpose what will be the cost. So this is the invoice given by the supplier. Okay, this is the invoice given by the supplier. Okay, for our costing records, what will be the cost of material? Okay, you have to pay to the supplier 946 rupees. But for our costing purpose, what should be the price of the material? Okay, so 200 into 5, this you can say cost of purchase or cost price, etc. In that discount is given 20% discount. Goods and service tax GST is added 96 rupees, packing charges is added 50 rupees, and supplier has given you an invoice of 946 rupees. Okay. But we have to calculate it for our costing purpose. Just now we have understood the this treatment of different costs for calculating the cost of materials. So we will solve this illustration, how to calculate the cost of material for costing purpose. See, here one more thing is given, 2 per rupees cash discount is given. 2% cash discount will be given if payment is made in 30 days. Okay. Here they have given one additional note that if you make the payment within 30 days, you will get a cash discount of 2%. Okay. So this note is given. We will try to solve this. How to solve this? Calculation of cost of material for costing purpose. So how we will calculate? See, calculation of calculation of cost per unit part 32, part number A32. Okay, so just now we have understood the treatment of cost. No? So see, 200 into 5,000 purchase price. This is a trade discount which is given in the invoice. This is a trade discount. So we have known now trade discount should be reduced from the purchase price. So net purchase price will be 800. So we'll take directly 800. So net purchase price is 800. So net purchase price. Okay, net purchase price 800. GST, whether we have to add for calculating the cost of material. GST, what will be the treatment of GST? Just now we have seen, no? GST will be ignored for calculating the cost. So GST ignore for calculating cost because we will get the credit for this GST. Okay. Non-returnable container. What we have to do? We have to add, no, non-returnable containers. So non-returnable container and non-returnable containers. How much? 50. Okay. cash discount. What will be the treatment of cash discount? Cash discount ignore. Treatment given to for cash discount. Effect should be given for cash discount. Okay, so what will be our cost of material? Cost of material will be 800 plus 50, 850. Okay. How many units we are purchasing? Number of units. We are purchasing 200 units. No, we are purchasing 200 units. See, we are purchasing 200 units. So divided by 200 unit, we will get cost per unit. 200 units. So cost per unit is 850 divided by 200. So it is rupees 4.25 per unit. So this is how you have to calculate your material cost for recording it in the cost books, cost accounting books. Okay, see, cash discount will be ignored and GST will be ignored. So invoice price was 946, but for our cost record purpose, it will be 850 only because GST credit we will get, so we will not add it to the cost. And cash discount, we have seen that it is a finance charge, it will not be added to the cost of material. Okay, and since it is a non-returnable container, we will add this cost. For example, if instead of non-returnable container, it was a returnable container, then we would not add this cost also. Because when you return the container, you will get back the amount. No? So in that case, our cost would have been 800 rupees only. Okay. So like that, you have to see which cost you have to add and which cost you have to ignore and which cost you have to reduce. If by applying that principles, a treatment of different cost, we can calculate the cost of material for our costing purpose. Okay, but for paying the supplier, you will have to pay 946 rupees only. Okay, this is for our costing purpose. That we will say that material cost is 850 for recording it in cost ledger. Okay, material ledger or store ledger, etc. Okay, clear? So today we have understood how to value material along with one illustration we have taken. Okay, so today we will stop here only. Further discussion will continue next class.